Hi. Hey, people of YouTube. It is I, your favorite. Am I your favorite? I don't know. So, hello, welcome to another video. It is I, Gemma Changin Park. And yeah, thanks for tuning in once again. How are you guys doing? I've been doing okay. I've been chilling. I've been working on myself. Yeah, and just living my life to the fullest these days. How are you guys? Are you guys doing okay? Did the summer drain you out already? Because sometimes I be feeling that way. But I'm back on this channel for a Q&A. I asked some of you guys on Instagram whether you guys have questions for me. And you guys are sweet angels. You guys asked me so many really cool, awesome questions. And I just wanted to take some time to answer those questions. Before we start, as a disclaimer, yes, I am filming this video in English, and I just hope you understand that English is not my first language. I just wanted to practice a little bit because I haven't used the language in a while. So there you go. I apologize in advance. But yeah, let's answer some of your burning questions. Yeah, let's go. So first question comes from Treebo. Hi Treebo. This user asked, 잼마님이 좋아하시는 최애호 소개해 주세요. And 4 kissy emojis. Thank you. I have a couple items in my wardrobe that I love. I don't wear them often, but I will never throw them away. And one of the most precious item in my own wardrobe would be the silk robe from Oscar de la Renta. I got it in Utah, Salt Lake City when I was in high school. I was there for a competition that I was doing. I went into this consignment store and everything was beautifully curated, but well over my price range. But this silk robe was there hanging and chilling, and it was quite affordable for me to even purchase. So I bought it, and it has been my good luck robe. So whenever I wear it, something great happens, and I love it. And it's just one of the item that I will never get rid of. Okay, second question. 태한이 안녕하세요. Tehani asked, share your playlist, please. If you guys watched my video that I made last year around this time, I promised myself that I'm going to make playlist every month. Well, basically, that never happened because I am a lazy But there's one channel that I would like to share on YouTube. The channel's name is My Analog Journal. The reason why I love this channel is because there's so many different DJs from all around the world, and they do a live set for about an hour in front of a camera, and they, edit it and put it up on the web. There's some DJs who play samba or jazz or city pop or basically every genre out there that I enjoy listening to. And if you need cool, chill, and vibey music that you can play in the background, or if you need music to just jam to when you feel like you need a pick me up, go to My Analog Journal, play on one of their sets. It's beautiful. And my favorite set that I go back to is this one. I don't remember the name, but I'm gonna put a screenshot here. Yeah. Thank you for the question. So the next question is from ha_ya. And this user asked MBTI. My MBTI is ENFP. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about MBTI, but that's me. ENFP, baby. Yeah. Moving right along. The next question comes from Joso Panda. I don't know how to say it, but hey Colin, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. He asked, when's the next single dropping? So when it comes to music, I haven't been really active on it on the surface level. Well, the bottom line is, hopefully you'll hear some new songs from me. Hopefully by the end of this year, a couple new songs. But I'm working with this really talented producer, and so far it's going really great. And hopefully very soon, hopefully you'll get to listen to one of the singles that I'll be dropping. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the question, Colin. Hope you're doing well. And speaking of music stuff, I don't know how to say your username, but thank you for the question. And she asked, 음원 만드는 중 가장 즐거운 작업은 뭔가요? 녹음, 작사, 음원 등록하는 순간? I think it varies depending on how I was part of this process. Sometimes it's when you stream it for the first time. Sometimes it's moments when you have the lyrics all done and you're reading it for the last time. But most of the time it's when when I record the demo and when I hear my voice with the song, with the lyrics that I wrote for the first time, it's a pretty magnificent feeling because that's like the first time you understand that this song is coming together. It's always a collective process with the creatives that I adore and admire so much. Of course, there's like more things to do, but like that initial demo, I get very emotional. I mean, I'm an emotional queen, so I get emotional regardless. But when it comes to music, I think that's like the moment that stands out to me the most. Thank you for the question. I don't think nobody ever asked me that question. So thank you. Appreciate that. Let's answer the next question. This person asked, 영어 공부 방법이랑 메이크업 궁금해요. Let's answer the makeup portion first because I feel like that's easier for me to answer. Well, today I'm not wearing anything crazy, but usually if you know me at all, I experiment a lot with makeup. I'm not quite afraid of putting a lot of colors on my face or like trying out different liners or putting gems or I don't know, doing stuff to my face. I usually get my inspiration from just Pinterest and just using the algorithm that I curated for a while. Whenever I see something really cool and something that is like super avant-garde, I still save it on my pin and like I use it as an inspiration whenever I feel like I want to try something new. So yeah, Pinterest. I use a lot of Pinterest. And let's go back to 영어 공부 방법. I think it varies. By the way, I'm not saying that my English is perfect. I am fully aware that my English is far from being perfect, but I manage and I feel comfortable using the language. So there's that. How I learned English is when I was in, I think 7th grade. I watched Friends like religiously for like, about like a month when it was summer break. And after that, it just went on continuously. What I did was I would just legit watch the episode with both subtitles. And I would just watch the episode and understand like the storyline. I would laugh and all that. And when I knew what was happening on the show, I would turn off the Korean subtitle and I would only watch it with English subtitles. And I would write down all the words, expressions, everything that I didn't understand. I would Google it. I would Naver it. Back then I used like 전자사전. Do you guys remember that? Anyway. I used that to look up what is what, and I would write a couple sentences using the words or expressions that I found. I guess I did that for like a year and a half, and even before I went to the United States for high school, like I felt comfortable using the language. It wasn't a short, easy process. I think whenever you're learning a language, it's such a gradual progression. I truly believe language encompasses the country's culture, people, society, history, like basically everything beyond and above. So, of course, it's not easy to learn a language, especially if you don't live in a country where they speak the language that you're trying to learn. But yeah, if you put in the hard work and if you put in the time and effort into it, I mean, I did it and so can you, but it just takes a lot of time and effort and patience. So yeah, that's how I did it back when I was in middle school. I'm not quite sure whether this can be like super helpful, but I hope it helped. And good luck if you're trying to learn English. You can do it because I did it. You can do it too. A couple people asked how I started with the modeling. Well. Long story short, I have a friend. He's a talented photographer and artist. And back when we were still in university, and he was like, yo, like I want to do this like photo series. Like, would you mind being in it? And I was like, absolutely not. I would love to be in your series. Why wouldn't I? Because he's like one of my closest friends and I love his vision when it comes to anything, period. So we had like a couple photo shoots together. And that's when I realized that being a subject to be captured by some other person is like beautifully vulnerable thing to be part of. Yeah, I just love the intimacy that I shared with him. And I love the intimacy that I shared with the camera. And I love the intimacy that the photographer shared with the camera. I instantly knew that I would love to be part of this industry, but I never knew that plus size modeling can be a thing here. And I had no intention of losing weight just because I want to pursue modeling, because that's just not my brand. Therefore, I always thought that there's no place in fashion for me here in Korea, like as a model. But a couple of years passed and my mother agency, the Curve Korea, reached out out to me. So we did an interview, I got signed, and I think that's when the whole career kind of took off. And I'm like still very new to the industry, and there's so many things that I want to do. There's so many things I will do. There's so many things that I will achieve. There are so many things that I cannot wait to learn. And I love being a model. I truly feel blessed because although I wanted to be a model for like the longest time, I genuinely never thought that it can be a thing. I always thought like I'm reaching for the stars, that is too far for me to grab. But I guess everything that I wanted was within my own reach. Epiphany, right? Yeah, that's how I started modeling. Of course there's ups and downs, and sometimes it's a struggle city, sometimes a lot of self-doubts happening in your brain, but I still live for it. Yeah, thank you so much for the questions. Speaking of the devil, 백도연, who is the photographer that I mentioned from the previous question, he asked, 저도 공주처럼 예뻐질 수 있을까요? 예뻐지기 노하우 조언해 주세요. Thank you for the question, babe. I honestly think, for me at least, I think there's a sense of self-hypnotism involved in it, because sometimes you wake up and you feel like absolute fucking shit, but sometimes you wake up feeling like you are the creme de la creme. You are the cherry on top of every freaking ice cream flavors out there. And I just needed to make myself believe that I'm always that version of myself, like continuously. I think that was it for me, like knowing and believing that I am that hot piece of ass. Another thing, that I started wearing whatever the hell I wanted to wear. Like sometimes you have to be more modest, and of course it depends on where I'm going and who I'm with and all that, but usually most of the time I wear whatever the heck I want to wear, and it feels great. There's no better feeling in the world than leaving your place and like walking the street, like absolutely loving what you have on your body. I love peacocking. And whenever I peacock, I feel like I'm like the hottest person and like the most beautiful creature on earth. And I think it just goes hand in hand. Wear whatever the heck you want to wear that makes you feel beautiful, and you feel beautiful. And it's just a constant circle, like back and forth into a cycle. Of course, there are days that you feel like an absolute mess, and sometimes you just don't have any energy to put in the effort. But I genuinely believe that once you put in the effort, you're going to feel better. And so, yeah, I'm a sucker for self-hypnotism and putting on a great outfit. So there you go. I hope that answered the question. Okay, so next question. It's more serious one. And the question goes, how did you motivate yourself to keep going when/if things felt against you? I'm struggling. First and foremost, I genuinely hope you're feeling better. For me, it divides into three things. First thing is to sit with those emotions that hurt you. I think usually we're so caught up with the idea, we're like, I want to get better, I want to feel better, I want to feel way better, but I can't do it. Why the like, what's wrong with me? Like, I think, at least for me, that was my cycle, but I had to sit with my feelings because there are reasons to why we feel certain things. Sometimes it's a factor that we cannot control. Sometimes it is a factor that we have some control or full control over. Because the emotions that we feel, like the struggles and like innate depressive episodes, or those anger that we feel sometimes, those factors don't have to. So sit with the emotion and understand and evaluate why you feel certain things. And second thing was to prioritize and to understand what serves you and what doesn't anymore. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's just stuff around in your room, sometimes it's just relationships, sometimes it's basically everything and anything. You have to understand your boundaries, and you have to prioritize what serves you and what doesn't serve you, and you have to again prioritize your time and your effort and your everything, because you have to put yourself first. Sometimes I don't think that's selfish. I think it's just survival tactic for some, and for me that's a survival tactic. If something doesn't serve me, I had to let it go, because that thing would bring me down and make me feel like shit, and I didn't have any reason for me to feel like shit. And the third thing is that I had to create my own routine of how to deal with certain things. There are so many resources out there telling us that this is how it's done and you should follow this and all that. And of course, I agree to a certain degree, but you just have to understand that you have to create your own routine. Like, I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes I get quite dark for very small reasons. Yeah, whenever I feel like that, I have my own routine. Like, I wake up, I work out, I take a shower, I meditate, I do certain things that I know will make me feel better. The thing is, you have to act up, and you have to act consciously, and you have to be kind to yourself, where you have to gear your day into a day that you can feel better. And for me, that's how I get motivated when I feel down and all that. I hope that helped. I'm not quite sure whether that applies to every individual. Of course, I understand it doesn't, but I genuinely hope you could take some part of the answer for your situation, and hopefully you can feel better. Let's end with this question. It's from Hi, I'm Rosemary. Hey, Rosemary, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. And she asked, do you have any fun backstories that happen when making music and / or modeling? I think I have a really good story to tell. Let me readjust for a second for a story time. Yeah, it was last November or October. It was last year, and I got a call. And it's from this producer that I respect a lot, and he used to be my mentor. So he just called me out of nowhere. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. How are you? And he was like, yeah, I'm doing good. Oh, I'm doing this like album for Hwasa, and I want you to sing a chorus for the song. And I was like, oh, sick. Okay, I'll be there. So like a couple days passed. I was in his studio, and we're just catching up, And he was like, oh, here's this song that I'm working on for Hwasa. It's the first track in her album. And I was like, sick. We listened to it. And it was sick. I was like, yo, this is awesome. And he was like, yeah, you like it? I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And he was like, can you help me write the lyrics? I was like, in my head, I was like, I thought I'm just here for the vocal backups and all that. But I was like, yeah, no worries. I can just, like jot down the ideas here and there and like write a lyrics. But yeah, I did. Of course, he was an immense help. Because he had a very precise idea of what kind of stories that they would like to tell. But yeah, so I wrote the lyrics for the song, recorded the vocal as a demo, and I think like about a week later he called me out of nowhere, and he was like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good, like I'm chilling, stuff like that. And he was like, oh, there's someone who wants to thank you. And on the phone it was Hwasa. She was like, oh, thank you so much for the vocals and the lyrics, thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, thank you, thank you. But yeah, I was starstruck, and yeah, I mean, I never thought that I'm gonna have a phone call with Hwasa on a random day when I did not expect her call. But yeah, it was cool. And yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting story that I have in my book. Hopefully there's more to come, and I know there will be more to come, but I think that's one of the stories that stands out. So yeah. So I guess that's it for this section of Q&A with JEM. Oh, did I just come up with the title? I think I just did. A Q&A with JEM. I'm down with it. Are you down with it? I know you're down with it because you're my friend. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A sesh. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what time you're watching this, but have a good day. Have a good night. And yeah, see y'all later. Bye.